What's going on, everybody? Zachary Cunningham here from Misfit Academics. In this video today, we're going to be talking about how me and Harper made Finding Light. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? Zachary Cunningham here. First off, if you haven't seen Finding Light, then go check that out now before you watch this, because I don't want to kind of give away what that film is about. And quite honestly, I've made like shorts and stuff like that, but I feel like this is one of the most important pieces of art I've made because it was so deeply rooted in personal stuff in the midst of this quarantine. But go check it out. But I just wanted to give an overview on how me and Harper made Finding Light. So the first thing I want to address is gear. We want to get that out of the way because, like I told you guys before, I don't want to talk about gear a lot. So to be clear, I shot Finding Light on a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K with Voltrox speed booster and Pentax Super Tacklemar lenses with glimmer glass at the strength of 1. We shot in 12:1 RAW, which was actually a mistake because somebody was using my camera not too long ago. I would never shoot 12:1. It's like pointless for shooting RAW at that point. You might as well just shoot ProRes. We shot 12:1 RAW for most of it, probably about 85% of the film we shot 12:1 RAW. But the other 15% was actually shot at constant quality Q0, which is the highest form of, the lowest form of compression that you can shoot. I chose to use glimmer glass because it kind of blooms the highlights. It gives like a dreamy kind of feel, but it's not as strong as Black Pro is. I just want to say this, like the gear that you use doesn't matter. Like seriously, like, and I recorded everything into a Zoom H6 with either a Sennheiser Live, one that I'm wearing right now, or the Rode Micro, which is like $100 little microphone. We kind of jury rigged this whole thing. And I have a Benro tripod that I pretty much used pretty much exclusively for this project, outside of like one shot where I was shooting Harper. And yes, so if you hadn't noticed before, I did shoot Finding Light. I'll get into like how I created an organic feel to make it feel like somebody else shot it, but we'll get into that later. The first thing I want to address is why I made Finding Light. So in the midst of this quarantine, we've kind of all been home, and you know, for filmmakers, it's hard because we don't really have an outlet. Like pretty much here in Michigan, everything has pretty much shut down in terms of like you pretty much can't leave your house outside of for groceries. And so I've been thinking that myself, like, okay, how do I create something and feel fulfilled while this kind of quarantine is going on? And so I was thinking to myself, I've been writing a lot of poetry, taking a lot of photos with my film cameras. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, what if I made a documentary on myself, but act like somebody else is shooting me? And then the title came to me, Finding Light, because I feel like in the midst of this quarantine, that's pretty much kind of like what we're all doing. We're trying to find the positivity in the midst of all of this death and just, you know, the unsureness of like what the future will hold. To be able to include Harper, my son, he just turned 1 year old 2 days ago. It was, I feel like being able to kind of tell that story in the context of him, because I take so many pictures of him and my wife. I would say that 90% of my film photos are of Harper and my wife. So this is pretty much how our days go. And like what you saw in Finding Light is real. That's how it goes. So next off, I want to talk about how I did it. So as with everything, it always comes with how you prepare. I pretty much kind of wrote like a treatment for the film. I sent it to my good friend Charles Kennedy. He's a director as well. He just directed a feature film called Affliction, shameless plug, whatever. And I sent it to him, and I had pretty much like, I pretty much almost like did the treatment as if Finding Light was a narrative film. The kind of like mini synopsis was a filmmaker is trying to find inspiration in the midst of a quarantine. And that was what it was, because that's really kind of where I am personally. And so I looked at it as like he's trying to find inspiration, and in that he finds film photography, which is kind of what, what I've been doing a lot. I knew that I was filming it myself. I knew that I would have to kind of set up set pieces. And so I started looking around our apartment for like little pockets of light that I could kind of create these kind of like dope set pieces for, and just think about, okay, the first shot, we're in the bathroom. I point the camera at the mirror. I have on the reversible shirt, so it's like, that's kind of like a trick shot. Then we have like things that were silhouetted and things like that. So I just thought of all these different set pieces, and I took about a day just thinking about it. Most shots, like either if they're like silhouetted, or if any type of like depth of field, shallow depth of field, then I'm probably pretty close to the camera. The shot where I'm taking a picture of Harper and it's like through like a net, I literally put the camera in his pack and play and shot through there. And I thought it was cool. So it was just like, I was really just kind of just filling it out, and just, again, man, this whole process is like jazz, and I was just filling it out, and there it was. It was kind of there for the taking, and I feel like I made something I'm proud of, and hopefully when he's older, he can look back at this and like be like, damn, like I was here from the beginning with my pops, and while he was trying to figure it out during a crazy time in kind of American history. So pretty much I want to make sure that this piece had a beginning, middle, and end. So we had the setup, which was, we have an artist who can't find motivation, so he's looking for motivation. Then we have, okay, this is what he found. Why is what he found important? You know what I'm saying? And then the conclusion is almost like, I won't necessarily say a call to action, but it's more so like, hey, this is how I feel about it. I'm not necessarily saying I want you to feel this way, but this is how I feel. And if you take anything away from anything that I've said in this entire documentary, take away the fact that I think it's going to get better. And we're all trying to look for it. And I hope that somebody else can relate to it. And that's pretty much how I structured it. Harper, come on, buddy. Pretty much the biggest caveat of making it is that, my wife works nights. So while we're shooting this, she sleep in the bedroom. And then Harper is out here, and like I said, he's 1 year old, so he's kind of all over the place. And like, you'll see in the BTS footage, like where I'm setting up the camera and he's walking all over the place, and I got to pick him up, bring him back over here. But to me, it just made it even more fun, because I'm like spending time with my son while I'm working, and he's just so happy to be there. And it's just it's an amazing experience. In post, I colored everything in DaVinci Resolve. I've pretty much been using Resolve exclusively as an editor for probably about 6 to 8 months. I don't remember how long, but I've been using it exclusively as an editor and a color. Well, I mean, everybody uses Resolve for color, but I've been using it as an editor for probably about 6 to 8 months. And so in post, I did my typical grade stuff. If you guys want an actual grading video, I can make one. I kind of know my way around Resolve. But one of the main things that I knew I wanted in this film was grain and a slight camera shake to give like that handheld feel. Resolve actually has a camera shake plugin, but at stock, it's like way too much. It's crazy, it's ridiculous. but like when you tone it down, it's like I made it like to where it's like very, very subtle. Resolve also has a grain system. What I like about the grain system in Resolve is that you can control how much grain shows up where. So if you want more grain in the highlights, that's great. If you want less grain in the shadows, that's great. You can do that. Like you can have like maximum control over it. But I just wanted to add to that organic feel. And I know YouTube probably compresses it and you can't even see the grain, but on my screen, it makes me happy. So it was fun, man. It was a great experience. And, you know, I just appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate all the positive comments. I appreciate all of the views. I appreciate all the comments, all the likes. And, you know, as always, be blessed, you know, stay present, stay in the moment, keep creating. And, you know, believe in yourself more than anything. Be sure of yourself. We don't all know where we're going, but just walk in truth. And we'll get there solidly. But I appreciate you guys. Love you all. I got to go because Harper is, I can already tell he's over it and his diaper is full. So, peace.